Hey folks, Kilt-Man here. Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very, very well. Now, have you seen the teaser for Fede Alvarez's Alien Romulus? Yeah, of course you have. It dropped yesterday and we've all seen it probably 1,000 times by now because it lasts barely a minute and shows you basically fuck all. But what it does show you, as every good teaser should do, it provides a flavour, a vibe of what you're going to get. That's the modus operandi of a teaser. The visual aesthetic, just something happening, but an atmosphere. It's got you, hopefully, hooked straight away. Now, with so many naff alien movies, oh god, we don't need another naff alien movie, do we? Do we, honestly? No, we do not. And Fede Alvarez, I think, may just have delivered something here. Oh, how can you tell from barely 60 seconds worth of footage? You can't. But I liked what I saw. The cinematography by Alvarez, I presume I pronounced that correctly, but I probably haven't, is great. Sort of sweeping low-level cinematography in the vast labyrinthine and yet claustrophobic corridors of Romulus. The space station, Renaissance, great names, and the actual craft itself has two modules, Romulus and Remus. Yes, we're going back to mythology. There's something I love about the alien movies. The names of the spacecraft: Nostromo, Narcissus, Sulaco, the Betty, Covenant, Prometheus. They're all very legendary mythological names, very literate names. The films have not always been that way. In fact, to be honest, none of the films have been that way. Even though Prometheus and Covenant strived to bring in much more vast ideas about the universe and Earth and how human beings began and black goo. Yeah, lofty aspirations which were not met by the films themselves, in my opinion. But Alien and Aliens, and in my opinion, Alien 3 are great movies which took the entire franchise, the central idea, the basic premise, in different directions. And that's what you want from a franchise. If a film, a rip-roaring success like Alien, has to have sequels, and I don't agree that they have to have a huge Spawn franchise afterwards, because we've seen how that can be disastrous in so many other cases. But Aliens, James Cameron, and I love Aliens. It changes the entire trajectory. It's an action war movie, but it still has lots of horror and thrills and spills and deep, dark suspense. And it's great. Alien 3, well, yeah, it's not the film which Fincher wanted to make, but it's brave, it's courageous, it's controversial, it splits the camp, but I love it. I love the risks it took and the atmosphere it creates of just non-stop, dark, foreboding, ominous tragedy. And if you look at Ripley, she can't possibly, keep going on. She's a blue-collar worker, a warrant officer on the Nostromo in the first movie. And by luck and just sheer gutsiness, she survives and she defeats, or so we think, the Xenomorph at the end of Alien. And then she's picked up, and well, yeah, look, I'm not going to go through all of the trials and tribulations of Ripley. And then the cloned Ripley, which, oh dear God. But at least those first 4 movies all did something different with the basic story. They took it in different directions and ran with it, for good or bad. And I admire that regardless. I'm no fan of Alien Resurrection. I think the score by Joe Frizzell is fabulous. I think some of the visuals are great. You've got Michael Wincott's in there and Ron Perlman's in there. But you've got Dan Hedaya realising, oh, I've got a slight niggle in the back of my head. Oh, there's me brains. And a lot of naff stupidity like that. But it was a different take. And I say I admire things like that. So then you get the AVP movies, whatever. And then you get Prometheus. Ridley Scott returns to the universe he created, or co-created. But, as I said before, lofty aspirations, and it's expanding everything and yet giving nothing away. And 3D is great. We've got the world's worst captain of any ship whatsoever. Hey, you guys, you're in that alien pyramid there. You're trapped. There's a great big sandstorm. We can't get to you. But hey, don't you worry about it. We'll be back in the morning. Oh, by the way, there's some alien life form readings heading towards you. But sleep tight, good buddies. If you can't be with the one you love the one you're with. So he ends up shagging Charlize Theron. And much hilarity and ridiculousness ensue. Black goo, where the hell does that come from? Who the hell cares? Michael Fassbender, I once loved you as a great, great actor. A great supporting player in the likes of 300 and what was it called? Haywire with Gina Carano, whatever. And yeah, a great actor, but David and then Walter in Covenant, for God's sake. And yeah, literally, you are androids with a god complex. And Ridley Scott, what in the name of sweet Christ were you thinking? We just wanted aliens and xenomorphs, great characters and great frightening set pieces and a gradual build-up. Mystery, yeah, you covered that expertly with the derelict in Alien. Although you did nick from various other movies, let's be honest now, yeah. Planet of the Vampires, Mario Bava, very similar. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a 1960s, very avant-garde, very beautifully visual, highly colourful tale of space vampires and alien human crews who get taken over by these things. But they encounter on this alien planet a weird structure, and within it, a great big space jockey. For that is what it is. And Ridley Scott, who's never acknowledged this fact at all, nicked it completely. So, the space jockey, the mystery evoked by the space jockey in the first movie, didn't need to be expanded upon. This is the thing about these movies. Your first one, it's lightning in a bottle. But how did that get there? What happened to them? What is that all about? The minute you start to answer those questions, when someone else comes in, well, we're going to do a sequel, so we're going to answer this, we're going to tell the origins of that. Yeah, you just destroy the mythos completely. True purists can always go back and you've just got that first movie. You haven't got to watch anything else at all, or even watch them, but don't accept them. Enjoy them for what they are, which is what I do. But I do not like the backstory, the engineers, and oh God. Really? Because it went nowhere. He really explored. He went beyond. He put his little Ridley Scott tendrils into the ether and plucked ideas from mythology, from history, from science, from other science fiction writers and creators, and tried to cobble together some cosmic explanation for who and what we really are. But link it. Maybe it's in the same universe as Alien. Maybe, but it's a set before all that. Oh, we all knew what you were doing. And then Covenant. Yeah, when you actually bring a xenomorph into it. I say I'm playing Jed Kersel's score for Covenant right now. I do love the score to this movie. And I did have high hopes of it when it first came out. They were swiftly dashed, of course. The Michael Fassbender double act was just, whoa, too much Fassbender. Please, dispense with all this. And will you just fuck off with the black goo? I don't care about it. I just don't care. I want to see Xenos with like fucking double mouths going whoosh in people's skulls. I want to see facehuggers. I want to see that and people trying to fight back, but in different environments perhaps and with different tactics. And maybe just explore a bit more of it, but not going back, just pushing outwards. I don't know. As a fan, you want to have your cake and eat it as well. But filmmakers, they're kind of stricken by the suits, the producers, the distributors, the companies, the Weyland-Yutanis behind everything, who pull the strings and want to get things changed. And then you get the auteurs, or auteurs slash maverick slash egocentric people like Ridley Scott, who when interviewed get really crusty and curmudgeonly and swear at journos, about Napoleon. Well, did Napoleon ever fire cannon at the pyramids of Egypt? No, he didn't. But when asked about it, he went, "Were you there? Well, fuck off then." That's not good enough. That's not good enough. He's crotchety old twat now, is Ridley Scott, who has produced this movie. So let's get back on track. Fede Alvarez from Evil Dead and Don't Breathe, a great director of really balls to the wall horror, really knuckle whitening, sphincter tightening, high suspense and tension, comes aboard, and he comes aboard the Romulus with a cast of young people. Yeah, I can't think of any of the cast names now at all. Callie Smiley or something like that, I don't know, is the main star of it. And at first I thought, oh, what, this is like Friday the 13th, it's a holiday camp in space. These are scavengers, these kids, these teens, they're space scavengers apparently, and they will stumble upon something which will unleash something which we know and love, and they will have to fight for their lives, being picked off one by one in labyrinthine, weird corridors and twisty-turny, undercarriages of spacecraft and space stations, picked off by Xenos and an absolute armada of super speedy facehuggers. Most of which are created, the facehuggers are by Weta from Lord of the Rings. Oh my god, that's great. So they're genuine physical things. CG's used to augment a lot of the movement perhaps, but Fede Alvarez loves practical effects, animatronics, puppetry, latex, stretchy, gory latex. And he's sworn blind, that's what this film is composed of. He brought in the guys that made the alien costumes and alien effects for Aliens. And in some cases, he said, we've got 9 puppeteers to work and operate one of these creatures. One of these creatures. So that you've got the facehuggers, we've got the Xenos. How many Xenos? We do not know. But there's going to be, I think there'll be something else thrown into the mix as well, which I don't mind. Fede Alvarez, Evil Dead, which I've discussed a lot because I'm a huge fan of Sam Raimi's Evil Dead trilogy. I even like Evil Dead Rise. I actually quite enjoyed it. I've covered that film as well. When I first saw Evil Dead, I was really ramped up for this. I thought, you're going to go for a broke on this, which he does. But he also filled it with the most unlikable bunch of characters that I've ever had to sit through, and experience their horrors and hardships with. And I reviewed it at the time, and I despised it. I applauded some of the set pieces and the gore and the effects and the music by Roque Banos, but more on that in a bit. And but I didn't like the film at all. I thought it was just, there was no sense of humour to it, and everyone was thoroughly despicable. And then only a few years afterwards, I watched it again, and I did it on the channel, and I said, I've reached not so much an epiphany, but an agreement, a détente with this movie, and now I enjoy it a hell of a lot. I've made my peace with it, and yeah, it's still thoroughly unlikable, but I can see vestiges of someone to root for. So I'm right behind Evil Dead now. And Don't Breathe, I thought was fantastic. Don't Breathe 2, don't know yet, but yeah, the guy can do the gore, the violence, and extreme set pieces of suspense, and then heightened violence, raw and visceral. So he's the guy you want for Alien. Bring him in. Yeah, bring him in. And he did this thing where he's been interviewed quite a bit about the movie, and because the teaser dropped, it has been test screened, and there's been a lot of leaks about it as well, but we won't go into all of those. And he said, well, look, I'm a massive... They always do this, don't they? A filmmaker comes into an established, much cult-cherished franchise. So like, I'm a real fan of the originals. I want to go back to the originals. How many times do you hear this? And he said this as well. But looking at that teaser, I know, I'm basing it on 60 seconds of footage. But he's definitely captured the look and feel and vibe of Aliens to a bit, which we'll come on to, and the game Alien Isolation, which I've never played, but I've sat and watched someone play it. So I've got that. Ooh, yeah, because the game is spooky. But I'm one of the worst people to sit with where you're playing a game, because I don't understand the mechanics of games. My son's a game designer, so I watch. Ooh, this is interesting, and I'm going like, well, why didn't you pick that up? Why did you go in that way? What about that? And I go, you just fucking shut up, And I go, oh, sorry. Backseat gamer, And but it's got that vibe because that game was very atmospheric. So it appeals to the fans of the original just by going from the teaser, the corridors, hexagonal doors. You've got Kaylee, Smaley, Smigamijog, whatever her name is, emerging from an elevator with the super big grills on it. She's got a little t-shirt on, and she's got a pulse rifle. Only it's not quite a pulse rifle because this film is set between the events of Alien and Aliens. So it's actually set 20 years after the events of what happened on the Nostromo. And what he said was like, and I like this, he said like, well, when I watched Aliens, and I thought the extended cut of Aliens, where you see the kids and the families of Hadley's Hope, on LV-426 and all that, or Acheron, as it was once known. Well, I want to know what these frontier kids and families, the terraforming colonies that Weyland-Yutani has set out there. It's like, I want to know. I'm doing a face hugger there. I'd like to know what their story is. So they're out there, they're pioneers. But how does their life evolve? So as they get a bit older, what do they do? They're estranged from Mother Earth and all that. I'm actually adding words to what he said, but this is what he was kind of getting at, which is what I like about the idea. So like, these kids in his film, in this story, are the grown-up versions of like Newt. I know Newt comes afterwards, but the point is, 20 years after the events of Alien, Weyland-Yutani's pushed out there and is terraforming planets, trying to. So you're going to have families, and these kids are grown up. So these kids, the teens in this movie, who are scavengers, have formed a team, and they're out there. They can pilot spacecraft, they can do this, do that, but they've grown up off-world, and they're used to all these vehicles and technology. So they're out there exploring and pilfering, scavenging, making a living somehow or other, and they encounter something nasty, which will then pick them off one by one in a very sort of Friday the 13th, and even I've seen this reference as well, Jaws 2, and you know how much of a fan of Jaws 2 I am. So teens in peril, and the Jaws 2 analogy is pretty apt because that sparked off the likes of Halloween and Friday the 13th and The Burning and all the teens in peril being stalked by a monster, a mutant, a madman, a psycho, or in Jaws 2's case, a big shark. But that's the ethos behind it, and that's what's come into this. All the other movies, the Alien movies, have had grown-ups, adults. They're workies, they're highly experienced in their jobs and all that, and that's great. So I actually don't mind the idea that this is like, we're going to swing this back to a younger audience, so a younger roster of characters, which in turn feeds into bringing in a younger audience as well. Yeah, you see, it does feed in. And you've got to look at who's behind all this. It's 20th Century Studios, of course, not 20th Century Fox anymore, 20th Century Studios, and Disney. Yes, Disney. The mouse is up there. in space, no one can hear you squeak. And, well, they've allowed out a lot of really extreme movies with violence and swearing and sex. So, I don't like the House of Mouse anymore. A corporate, nasty bunch of bastards they are. But, wokey eyes to hell and back. Now, in this film, I don't know if woke has infiltrated. I don't know. With Fede Alvarez there, I kind of think that it might not rear its ugly little green snout, but who knows? Judging by that teaser of what he said, this is go for broke. It's nasty, it's gory, it's frightening, it's relentless. And they used the original Alien font as well. Oh, plaudits for that one, because that just really evoked it all again. And I'd love an opening sequence where the title just fades in out of the black canopy of endless universe, and the camera's panning this way, and the word alien, just bits of it suddenly appear, and then you'll get Romulus underneath. Yeah, I'm pretty excited by it. Now, I mentioned composer Roque Banos, the guy behind The Machinist, which was outstanding film with Christian Bale, an outstanding score. That's not from Fede Alvarez, but Roque Banos also scored Evil Dead and Don't Breathe, and those scores are magnificent. They really, really conjure up edgy tension, suspense, dark elements of pure heightened suspiriatum in space, and pure ferocity as well. A lot of lyrical moments, but anyway, he's not doing it. It's a fella called Benjamin Wallfisch. Now, Benjamin Wallfisch did It, chapters 1 and 2. He did The Flash. He did something else as well. Hang on, did I write it down? Oh, he did The Invisible Man for the guy that's doing the new Wolfman movie later in the year. He also did Blade Runner 2049, but he did that alongside his mentor, Hans Zimmer. So, and his scores to all of these are great. They're actually really great. The film The Flash, I cannot stand. I literally cannot stand it. I've only ever seen little bits in the trailers because that guy playing The Flash. I'm just not going there at all. Plus it's DC movies and fuck that. But I've heard the score, I've got the score, and it's fantastic. So Benjamin Wallfisch, I think, you're not going to get Roque Banos, then I'm up for this. I want to see what he comes up with for this, what he conjures up. So you've got the cinematography and the lighting from what we've seen, very similar to Alien. The hexagonal corridors and doorways, the grill elevator shaft doorways coming up, a pulse rifle, a proto-pulse rifle, because it's set before Aliens, don't forget. You've got lots of screaming in there, you've got lots of steam coming out and all this from vents and stuff. And you've got this, as I said before, like literally an armada of facehuggers. Now, Weta have sort of added a bit more to the facehuggers. The fingers are barbed and spiked. But if you look in Alien, they are as well. It's just people don't tend to notice that. So they're not really going off on a whole new offshoot, but they're going to probably focus a bit more on it because they actually mentioned it, that they're going to do this. But you've got characters running down corridors and these things are like, oh no. In Aliens, James Cameron really brought out the genuine fear of the facehugger. In Alien, it's just, ooh, what's that? Ooh, I mean, I'm knocking Prometheus for those dickheads. You've got the biologist who's going to, Fergal Sharky, whatever his name is, the one that becomes a crook-backed weird thing with the big banana head. And he's going like, oh, no, don't touch it. You've got no idea what it is. Because they're finding all these things in this, the alien structure. No, don't touch it. And then a little cute one comes up. It's going, ooh, and he's going, hello, little boy. Oh, and it fucking chomps on him like, what a dickhead. The film is filled with so much stupidity. But you kind of forget that Kane, John Hare, did the exact same thing. You know, it's filled with some kind of, it's bioluminescence or whatever he says. Like there's a layer of light which reacts when you go through it. It's filled with some kind of eggs, leathery eggs. And he leans in close. There's something in there. I completely mangled all the dialogue there because I've forgotten, to be honest. Cheers, you all. This will help me remember. But the films have all had stupid moments in them, of course. That's what films are like. It's your suspension of disbelief which gets you around these ridiculous moments. So, but this has all those combined, this teaser has all those elements are in there. A lot of alien stuff, and a hint and throwback to aliens. The face hooks are giving it loads. You've got people screaming off camera, like screaming like, get it away from me, get it away from me. And like, oh my God, what is it? You know, and you do see the camera does a bit of a pan, and you've got like there's a quadrant of some room or a corridor which is just awash with gore. There is reputedly to be a sequence which is so disgusting half the cast couldn't cope with it, and people in test screenings have been throwing up and that all that kind of hyperbole, hyperbole. And Fede Alvarez was like, yes, I've nailed it. If I can get that reaction of people, then. And he says it's the guy with the the boom mic. He said, who doesn't know what's about to happen. I don't know. I think everyone on set kind of knows what the scene's going to be, but whatever this scene was, he watched it and he turned to look at the guy with the boom mic, and the guy was like, "Ugh!" And he thought, I've got it, that's the reaction I want. So we know there's something really out there, gory and very disturbing. To give Prometheus its due, you have got what's her name? Numira Pace, who has to do an emergency cesarean on herself because, yeah, well, you know what's in there. And that I found was exceptionally gripping. Mainly because Numira Pace in that movie looked like my wife did at the time when Prometheus came out. So I was like, Prometheus has got moments. It's got interesting moments and concepts and great visuals. But overall, it's just, what the fuck? I mentioned the captain, Idris Elba. You're like, if you can't be with the one you love the one you're with. And like, don't worry, boys, we're back in the morning. Oh, by the way, there's something alien heading towards you, but don't worry about it. And then, oh, right, well, you barely know me, all the rest of my pilots and navigator and that, like, but, like, we've got to take down that alien ship there. So it's a suicide mission, boys. Are you up for it? No. You haven't consulted me. No, I'm at the controls as well. I'm going to go the other way. Fuck that. You can't make up their minds in a split second. But they're like, yeah, we're doing it. And Mark Streitenfeld's score becomes really sacrificial and dead, sort of super triumphant and really, tragic at the same time. But it's just ridiculous. You go like, fuck that. Let it go. I'm not arsed. Let's just fly somewhere else. We'll be okay. What's the worry? What's the rumpus? But yeah, back to Romulus. Yeah, I really am quite smitten with it. I like the director. I like the direction he says he's going in. I'm hoping that the score will be great. The cast, I really don't know. So I can't say yay or nay to anybody. I really can't. I've got no idea whatsoever. I said before about, he wants to see people's reaction. And the guy with the boom mic doesn't know what's about to happen because the boom mic guy never knows. I cry BS on that. Everyone on set should know what's about to happen. And before you say it, this is what I'm coming to. On Alien, of course, where John Hurt has the chest burster coming out, and the oft-told tale, and no one knew what was going to happen. Fuck off. Of course you knew what was going to happen. How were you meant to react? You can't have a guy writhing on the table and then suddenly you're going to have to get the rig set up, the fake chest, and his body sunken down, and all the people with the gallons of blood and the blood blowers. They're all going to be there, and your cast is there. They know what's about to happen. So this, oh my God, none of us knew. And then suddenly, you take us for fools. You know, you've run through this effect before, and then you bring the cast in, and you've not told them what's going to happen. They go, and someone have read the script. You know, so don't give me that. I know that the first take, too much gore erupted, and poor old Veronica Cartwright did a cartwheel, we're led to believe. Literally did a backflip, and so drenched in gore she was. So they had to, that was too much. We'll skip back on the blood and guts and do it all over again. Oh, it's just crap. Same as Ridley Scott talking about Sigourney Weaver's pubes when she gets down to her skimpies in the Narcissus. Fucking bollocks. Yeah, you may talk about this, but Ridley, you're adult these days, mate. I'm not having it. I'm not having it at all. We didn't have digital use of CGI to get them out, But I said to her, you got to shave your bush, and she wouldn't do it. So someone had to painstakingly go in frame by frame and literally airbrush them out. Bollocks. I absolutely, Ridley, he used to be a demigod. Alien, Blade Runner, Legend, Gladiator, White Squall, but Black Hawk Down, amazing. You are a great filmmaker, or rather you were a great filmmaker. And I know people out there going like, oh I know Prometheus and Covenant weren't that good, but we need an ending. He's got to come back. Really? He's got about fucking 20 movies in the last literally couple of years of his life that he's still got to do. Don't let him anywhere near this franchise again as a director and creator. Don't let him do it. Fede Alvarez was speaking to both Jim Cameron and then Ridley Scott, and he was asking both. It wasn't the same time, both separate occasions, but saying to him, "Why do you do this? Why do you do that? This thing about the bug hunt, this is another bug hunt. Like you're implying that they've met things before." Which is a clever assumption to make because that is not expanded on at all. Apart from like Arcturian Poontang and all that. Yeah, but the same with yours with male. So there are other alien races, unless in that Aliens universe, by Arcturian, they kind of mean, well, there's a colony on the planet Arcturus who are humans, but they've been there for a good few years. So they're Arcturians now, and they've got their own weird ways. That it could mean something as simple as that, not an alien race. But you don't know that because it's not explained at all. So this stand-up fight or the bug hunt, you secure that shit, Hudson. So he's like, well, have things been met? And you've got pulse rifles. Well, what were the earlier versions of these? So he's worked out a sort of evolution. I'm sitting between Alien and Aliens. So I'm going to use some of the old tech and some of the fledgling new tech that you're going to see for our world, our universe. But he then was talking to Ridley Scott, and he wasn't pitching the movie at all, Romulus, in the least. He was just as a fan going, wouldn't it be great if the aliens did this, or if you could see this take place? And Scott was going, that would be great, that. Yeah. Oh, but if you did that, what would you do with this? And he was like, thinking on his toes. Well, I'd do that. And suddenly, what was just an enthusiastic fan's discussion with the creator of something he knows and loves so well, it became a pitch in itself. So, hey, you should do this. Okay then, are you giving me the chance to do it? So he gets his opportunity. Wow. So I think all these people who come into these franchises always say, I'm such a fan and I love this. But as I said before, we've heard it all before, ad nauseum. And it's very few and rare and far between that we get someone who actually means what they say. But with Fede Alvarez, I kind of do. I believe him. I do believe him. He knows this really disturbing, distressing moment works. He knows that. He also said about Jim Cameron told him that the big moment was when Ripley comes out in Aliens in the power loader, and everyone just went "Wah!" like that, which they did. It was it's a champion hero moment, and he said, "Well, I've got that. I tried to do that in my movie where I'm one of those that I'm nervous as hell, but when I look around and the audience reacts the way I wanted them to react, and they react that way, you know, like with the power loader, I know I've got it right." And he said, "I've got it with this." I don't know what that scene is, but anyway, it's all to play for. It comes out, when does it come out? August the 16th. It's fucking ages off. You know, and obviously that was only a teaser. We'll get more interviews will take place with the cast and crew and all that. So you'll get to know a fair bit more. But the great things are the look and the sound. The atmosphere is of pure heightened fear and absolute dread and suspense. We know it's gory. We know it's got distressing scenes in it. The facehuggers are plenty. Xenos, I don't know how many. An army? 1 or 2. I don't know. I haven't got a clue. But we know these kids are going to get picked off. They're going to regret leaving their little family colony and heading off into the stars. Ooh, don't do it. You know, don't do it. We don't know what's out there, do we? The lighting, cinematography sounds great. Looks great. And we've got a director who genuinely does seem to be a massive fan of what came before and just wants to bridge that gap and fit just snugly in the middle. He's not expanding stuff after Aliens. He's not going into Prometheus territory. He's taking Nostromo as Nostromo stepping stone with Romulus to the Sulaco. That's it. There might be other ideas thrown into the mix. Who knows? It's a franchise, and it may have been really forced upon him to do that. But I guess we'll find out. So in the meantime, in this ever xenomorphic in-between time, please keep it kilted, keep it Celtic. If you've got one of these, have a swig of it now. To acid for blood. Because this does the same sort of thing. And I'm going to see yous all. Haters. And I wonder who in this is a robot. Who is a goddamn robot? Somebody will be. Somebody will be. You've got to have moved on from Ash and, you know, they always wear a bit, what was the word? A bit twitchy. To Berk. Oh, no, not Berk. Ash. No. Oh, God. Ash. Berk's the dickhead from Aliens. Who does Lance Henriksen play? Oh, wow. I've forgotten his name in Aliens. Well, don't nap Beetle. Look at you lot. You're laughing behind your facehuggers, aren't you? Yes, you are. Bishop. Hey! I knew all along. Oh, God. Oh, God. You see, you're too long in hypersleep. This is what happens to you. You get brain fog. And it's them things that can't get down there and start giving you indigestion. That doesn't help either. Anyway, I'm out of here. I'm on the next shuttlecraft out of here. And I'm off to Conam 27. Because we need Outland to be bridged into the alien universe and do it officially. We want xenomorphs on the next mining colony. And we want another federal marshal to be there. We can't have Sean Connery now. Although using AI and CG, we can bring him back. But if you're going to do that with Sean Connery, then bring him back as Bond. There you are. I've covered a few different other things as well. Gonna see you all later.